Someone who people think could hold a lot of these answers is Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's arguably one of his biggest enablers. She's sitting in jail right now for 20 years over sex crimes, including minors, like you and I were discussing. And in your book, you described Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell as this predatory Bonnie and Clyde. And the House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed her to come in, and she said, "I'm going to plead my Fifth Amendment right," according to her attorneys, unless there's some stipulations met. One of those stipulations included being granted immunity. The House Oversight Committee essentially said, no way. They haven't answered fully about the other conditions. But what do you think she could provide? And do you think she would give an honest testimony?
Well, I would hope that she would give an honest testimony. You know, she was also given immunity to sit down for a 2-day interview that took place over 9 hours with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. That took place last week down in Florida, near the jail where she's being held in Tallahassee. Now, in terms of Ghislaine Maxwell is an evil predator. 4 of her victims and Epstein's victims testified against her here in New York, and rightfully so, she was convicted and sentenced to 20 years behind bars. And, you know, Miss Maxwell, up to the point of sitting down with Todd Blanche, has never fully accounted for anything related to her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. She's never expressed any guilt or remorse for the victims that the Justice Department says now number more than 1,000 women. As I reported in my book, Ghislaine Maxwell once told a close friend, "These girls are nothing but trash." She had complete disdain for these young victims. Why she went along with this sex trafficking and why she went along with grooming these girls is certainly a question that I would have. This is a woman who was educated at Oxford University, grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth, grew up in a 70-room mansion in England, had such a top-class education, growing up as the daughter of the wealthy Fleet Street publisher Robert Maxwell. You have to ask yourself, when she hooked up with Jeffrey Epstein, why she just didn't run away when Jeffrey Epstein began targeting young women and young girls. Why she didn't put her hands up and say, "I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm going to get out of here." But instead of doing that, she helped him a great deal in terms of as you referenced, I called them the predatory Bonnie and Clyde. And they presented themselves as a couple to the young victims, and in other cases to their parents or single mothers, basically telling these girls, Jeffrey Epstein wants to help you or wants to help your daughter. He sees that she has a great interest in music. He wants to get her private music lessons. Oh, he sees that she is interested in possibly attending medical school one day. He wants to help finance her college education. They presented themselves as a wealthy couple who could help these children receive an incredible education and additional help in whatever their expertise was or what they wanted to do in life. And that was just a ruse. That was just a cover. Instead, Ghislaine Maxwell would take these young girls under her wing. She would talk to them about their sexual histories. The majority of them didn't have a sexual history. They were children, for God's sakes. And she would instruct them on sexual acts. And she would also buy them lingerie, she would buy them children's underwear, and she would oftentimes take them into the rooms with Jeffrey Epstein and not only watch the horrible sex abuse that took place, but she would oftentimes participate in this. And she would also, as some of the victims' lawyers have said, she would also arrange for private parties or sessions involving some of Jeffrey Epstein's wealthy male friends with some of these young women and children. So this is a woman that is one of America's worst predators. And I can only hope that if she is deciding now to speak, that she will finally tell the truth, admit to guilt in terms of what she's done, but help us understand what went on, and also tell us about the other men that took part in this who possibly could be prosecuted, because that's really what the American public wants to know. They want to know, are there other men involved in this case who are responsible and should be brought to justice? And again, we don't know what Ghislaine Maxwell has said to Todd Blanche. We don't know at this point if she will speak with government officials, and will she be truthful? Because the government has already said that she's been responsible for perjury. They dropped those charges against her as part of the larger case, but she has lied under oath. She has lied in court depositions, and the government has found her to be an unreliable witness. So I'm only hoping now that she will finally be forthcoming and that she'll tell the truth, and also provide whatever evidence she may know of that could help in an investigation into third parties. But Ghislaine Maxwell's motive may strictly be to play to President Trump and hope that she can get a pardon or some type of commutation on her sentence. So at this point, we don't truly know her motives as to what's going on behind the scenes. But, I would say, please, just tell us the truth once and for all.